Audio on demand from Vision Christian Media.
Exploring faith and the future. Neil Johnson and Bible teacher Dr. Kameel Majdali.
We're talking about a fascination with the last days and how we know as Christian believers that these are in fact the last days. We've talked about the fact that the Bible is a foundation to start with, to know that we're in the last days. Kameel, what else should we know?
Okay, Neil, it's very simple. The last days is a time of restoration. It tells us in the book of Acts chapter 3, verses 20 and 21. Peter is giving his second recorded sermon, and in those two verses is a wealth of insight. He first of all in verse 20 says that Jesus is coming back. To him, this was not just wishful thinking. It's a hardcore spiritual reality. There was no doubt in his mind Jesus is coming back, though he didn't set a date, wisely so. And then in the next verse, Acts 3:21, it actually gives the scenario of what will happen in the world prior to the return of Christ. And the key phrase is, he will remain in heaven until the restoration of all things, spoken by the mouth of all the holy prophets since the world began. So the key phrase here is restoration of all prophesied things. When we see these prophesied things coming to pass, it's again another milepost along the way that we're getting near the end of the kingdoms of this world and being prepared for the kingdom of Christ.
So what sort of things can we point to in today's world where we can say these are things that are being restored, biblical things?
Okay, well, before I mention that, I should say the word restoration has a twofold meaning. One is to restore something to its original condition or to return something to its rightful owner. What are some of the things we could ponder? Example one, Europe, particularly the European Union, which we know as the EU. The European Union, as far as I can tell, is the most successful attempt to unite Europe since the days of the Roman Empire 2,000 years ago. And the European Union may, I use the term may, have prophetic implications if you read Daniel 2, 7, and 8, which describe the world's last great empire before the coming of the Messianic kingdom. It ends with Nebuchadnezzar's statue, feet of iron and clay, partially strong, partially weak. I think that's a good description, certainly, of the European Union economy at present. Second thing has to do with what I call the last day outpouring of the Holy Spirit, which has been going on for over 100 years and increasing in strength. Something today of like 750 million people are under the banner of Pentecostal charismatic third wave, 80% in the non-Western world. Is this a sign of restoration? I believe so. It tells us in Acts 2:17, Peter preaching, he quotes Joel 2, and he says, "In the last days, says God, I will pour out of my Spirit on all flesh." Now in Acts 2, the Spirit was poured out on Jewish flesh, but the latter-day outpouring is on all flesh across the world. We're seeing that happen before our very eyes. And then there's the picture of modern Israel. Israel is not a neutral term. It either inspires great respect and awe or dread and loathing and contempt. It's a, shall we say, a non-neutral term. Without getting in any politics, consider certain things. The fact that there is the Hebrew language, it's been raised back from the dead. There are cities that were in the Bible, and then they were buried under the dust for millennia. And in the last decades, those cities have been excavated, dusted off, rebuilt, not as tourist haunts, but as living, viable cities. What about the fact that there are Jewish immigrants coming from over 100 different nations of the world? And there are literally prophecies to talk about it. Yes, I understand there's issues with the Palestinians too, and we're not overlooking that, but we're just talking about certain things. Or what about the ecology even? This country is 60% wilderness with limited water supply, and yet the deserts are blooming and trees have been planted everywhere. It's a net food exporter. Is this the restoration we're looking for? Just watch this page.
Faith and the Future with Neil Johnson and Dr. Camille Majdali from Teach All Nations. Find articles, videos and podcasts from Dr. Camille, plus today's and other episodes of Faith and the Future in the Vision app or at vision.org.au.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.